Fighting Talk Podcast, episode 5. And today I'm joined by UFC heavyweight James Mulheron. Cheers for coming in, James. How's it going, mate?
Oh, good, thank you.
So I think first things first. I know it's been announced and it's across sort of the a lot of different media outlets. You've been handed a 1-year suspension from USADA. Can you tell us a bit about that and what's sort of happened with it? Because I know it's been a
Basically, I was fighting. I was training in California. Set to fight on the Shanghai card. Yeah. Shanghai fight night, UFC fight night, so we gets a phone call the Friday night, final preparations that I'd be flagged for something off USADA. Obviously, me and the team who I was with us were like laughing and joking, saying it must be like a wind up. Yeah. And then obviously we got the news, or basically you've been pulled from the card, and I thought it had been like a few things. I'd had like cortisone injections in my back. I thought maybe there's a bit of breakdown in communication that way, or what. And then obviously you find out that it was clomiphene, and I've obviously done all my research on that on it, and it's like estrogen blocker, so it's classed as performance enhancing drugs where it can promote testosterone or whatever. But obviously totally unintentional. If I have took it, it's totally unintentional, and I got drug tested like 6 weeks prior to go into, like, from that date, and everything was fine. Everything went through fine, so I didn't even think of why anything would ever show up. Yeah. So I've tried to get to the bottom of it, communicating with USADA and Jeff Novinsky from the UFC, and try to get to the bottom of it, and we've sent supplements off to be tested and come back negative. Obviously all the supplements that get tested have to come through your pocket, get paid through your pocket, but when it come back negative, I was at a loss. I didn't understand. I went, well, what else could it possibly be? Yeah. So then they offer you the chance to anything else you can think it might be, and I was just totally at a loss. So that's when they say, oh wait, we're going to sanction the year, we're going to give you like a year suspension. So the suspension started from November 11th or 17th. Mm-hmm. I mean, through that time I've been injured as well. I've just had like a back up. I've had like the bottom of my spine burnt and everything. The little niggle spine injury been happening a few weeks. So I'll be off for a few weeks with that. And then eventually so when November comes, I'll be like camp, and I'll be ready to fight straight away from that point. So I'll probably go back to California and train there, and hopefully get on like a card in December time. Yeah.
It's been AK that you're training when you're out, isn't
it?
Yeah,
AK, yeah.
What's that like for you, sort of, I guess, to develop as a fighter when you're out training with the likes of Khabib, Cormier, Rockhold was there? How much does that help you as a fighter to develop, training with the world champion?
Yeah, it is when you it doesn't matter what you do, whatever sport, or if you're a businessman, if you surround yourself with world champions or like people who are so clever in business, the best in the world at it, like it rubs off on you. Yeah. So like that was the shame. Like we're fighting in Shanghai, I'd never felt so good, ready for a fight. And obviously everything in life happens for reasons, and you know what I mean, you just got to take it on the chin and you just crack on with it. But obviously everyone's got to entitled their own opinion on this situation. Obviously, like to the next person, they don't know us, they don't know like me as a person, they just know James the fighter. And obviously I've had stick, I'm going to keep getting stick, and that's what happens when you put yourself in the limelight. If you obviously getting the UFC is great and everything, but things like this, daft little things like this will happen, and like I say, you're in the public eye, and some people want to see you do well, some people don't care how you do, some people want to see you fail, but that's life. Everything in life's like that. So.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on that as well. You're mentioning the sort of criticism you got. I know on Twitter there was one account in particular that really took a sort of grudge a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I know Jimmy Manuaz came out and been quite public about what he makes of sort of fans not voicing their opinion, but being so negative about fighters. When they're doing well, they're all about it. Where do you sort of stand on that with the whole?
Well, exactly what he said. Like when you put yourself in the limelight, or you like going in front of like thousands, millions of people watching on telly, if you're having a fight, like how dare you have any opinion? I mean, like I say again, we're in the limelight. People are going to say it, but I just don't get how people can like just be so like horrible. Yeah, like behind like a computer and just like give fighters stick. But like I say, it is life. But I just obviously not everyone can do this. You know what I mean? There's only like certain human beings in life who can achieve like getting to the UFC. So, like I say, this just comes along with it. All this stick and that you get, but it's fine. It's flipping sticks and stones in it.
Hi. What was that like when you got the call? Obviously, you just sort of avenged your first the Ruben Wolf defeat. You came back, absolute classic fight, and you beat Ruben. Then you get the call off the UFC. What was that like to sort of?
But that it was like just a dream come true. You think for 10 years where you're like, obviously going back to the sort of thing, like you wait 10 years to train, fighting. Like I broke legs, I broke bones. Like everything's like to this point where you get signed to UFC. It's meant to be this like the most fantastic thing ever. And it is the most fantastic thing ever. But like when you get like people telling you that, or you're a cheat, you're doing this, that, and then you think you don't know like anything I've been through to think that I would jeopardize to where I am now at this point is like clueless. But like I say again, people are gonna have their opinion, and people can say that. So, but no, it's a dream come true, and obviously like with me fiance, me friends, people who've got us there. Like there's like loads of like not just me getting it myself, but it's like my family round us, my friends round us.
What was that ring walk like? The first one going out with your UFC gloves on the.
It was it's breathtaking. Like when you, it's more like it's crazy when you go out. Well, I had that walk out there. Same as when I fought Bellator. It's a bit funny because like obviously I'm used to fighting me for the cage, so like you've just got people from South Shield on top of you screaming, mortal drunk, screaming at you saying "Go on, son!" And like when you walk out into a big arena like that, it's not as if we had it, it's more like quieter. So you've got flipping people screaming like on top of you, slapping you on the head, saying "Go on, son, get yourself in." And then when you walk out there, it's just like you just fucking daft little Jimmy from South Shields fighting the UFC, but near like the chairs aren't the same because it's that big, you know what I mean? But I find it easier walking out in like a big arena like that, you know what I mean? It's good though. It's like say the whole experience of UFC, man. You couldn't you didn't have to lift a finger. You turn up your gum shield, and like everything else is taken care of. So that was like it's a really good experience. Like say like for us to do that, and say where I've got my dad in my corner as well. It's like it's quite nice for him to like, you know what I mean, to say or like do his whole life or fought on the UFC with my son in his hometown as well. Yeah. So although this is bad what's happened, you look what happened like a year ago. My dad walked us out in the middle of Glasgow. If you could say to him like years before, could you imagine your son fighting the UFC in the middle of Glasgow? It would be like, I mean I didn't get the result, but just doing that is just like words can't describe like how he must have felt like walking out. Like I say, the result didn't go away, but just like doing that, achieving that. There
was that massive weight difference, I know, between you and Justin Willis as well. It was sort of cracking on a couple of stones as well. How much do you think that did play a part in the fight that night?
It's my own fault. I need to like, I'm hovering about in limbo because I'm like short, because I don't carry a lot of weight. I carry a lot of fat, so I'm like I'm hovering about in limbo, like whether going out light heavy or like stay heavyweight. But I love fighting big guys. I just love fighting big fellas. It's like I say, I love grub too much. It's just I'm the kebab king, so you kind of like how the hell am I kind of cut to light heavyweight?
Would that be a difficult cut, do you reckon, to get down? Or
well, not really. Like I say, it's like I carry in mostly fat, so it probably wouldn't be. It's just the fact I just enjoy grub too much. So maybe it's time. Probably, I can't say any time soon. Like no. Definitely not.
I know you mentioned Made for the Cage as well. You were UK and European champion there at Made for the Cage. What was that sort of like? I know you didn't know it was your last fight for them, the Ruben Wolf one, but I imagine you had so much sort of like not built up, but obviously Ruben was the only man who'd ever beat you before that. Going into that fight, what was your sort of mentality like to think, right, not only do I want to beat him, I want to get the belt, and I'm going to like sort of avenge your only loss, I guess?
At that point I was going through like difficult little spots in my life as well there. Like I wasn't sure if I wanted to do MMA after that, and like financially it wasn't really doing well. You know what I mean? So like leading into that fight, it was like I say, it was like a big thing. I thought, from hell, like if like I was so confident, I thought I would beat him here. You always have that thought in the back of your mind, or like, if you get beat here, what's gonna happen after, and you know what I mean. But after that, like when I beat him, it was just like it was a relief for us. It was like a massive weight off my shoulders to know that like I'd avenged that loss.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Because I always wanted to. It would have just bugged us for the rest of my life to know that like I could have beat him.
Yeah.
Like I say, that fight was a tough old fight as well.
You got a nasty cut, didn't you, on your eye as well?
Yeah, I got took a nasty one eye. I say it was just it could have been stopped. A different fight, different doctor maybe might have stopped it, but he would have definitely would have had a tough thing trying to stop me fight. Like.
Wait.
I think the doctor like must have had a look at my eye, and I think I just grabbed him and just hid him out the way. I think he said take a look. I was like out the way.
Let's keep going. I know you mentioned as well when you go in that you've got loads of people from South Shields behind you and stuff. You're a big Sunderland Football Club fan. John O'Shea sent you that video before your UFC. I know Pickford and Defoe were there that night. How sort of, I guess, surreal is that for you? Like when you see that the messages and that coming through.
It's great. I mean, like all of a sudden, I mean, they're not doing $2,000 now, like, but no, it was great. You know that like the people at that level, like the sport, and then when you look and you think, well, like at like the UFC levels, like pretty much like the Champions League. You know what I mean? The football, MMA levels. So. It's like it's nice to be. I mean, the only thing is, I didn't have the same money as them. That's the only difference. But it's great. It's great to have it. It's a shame we just didn't up the money.
Yeah,
that's the only difference.
Well, we'll touch on Sunderland. You are a Sunderland fan. I'm a black and white. But how do you see you going this year? Do you think you've got it in the bag to stay up? Or
someone tells that Richard Branson was taking over. Something like that, Richard Branson.
All right.
So Richard Branson might be taking over, which I thought would have been kind of good thing, but I don't know. Then I've heard the Ghana liquidation, and I didn't really watch a football. I know like a lot of my friends in that play. I love FIFA. I love playing FIFA, but it likes it watching with that. I've got some mates who go to watch Sunderland, and, like have a bad week if they didn't win. You know what I mean? It's but I sometimes go to the box as well.
Right.
So it's good.
Yeah,
enjoyable. Like.
Looking forward as well now. Once the suspension is up, you'll be looking to get back, sort of like you're saying, sort of straight away. We were talking before we started, and there's usually a Las Vegas card around there. Is that definitely something you'd be looking at?
That would be the main thing. Like I know there is always like a Vegas card at the end of December. So like all you've got to do is make yourself fit, make yourself ready, and then as soon as that suspension's up. You're like, I've literally just got to wave my arms, just say, I'll fight next week. Yeah. I'll fight tomorrow if you need. You just got to be ready to go. As soon as the UFC say, do so, you just got to go for it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, little opportunities. Although you're in the UFC, there's still like little opportunities you've got to take. So I'm going to stay ready right up until the day of my suspension finishes. Maybe might be back over in California training. I'll still be here. I don't know, probably California more, but I want to be saying, look, I'm ready to fight. Is any pullouts like this week, next week? But realistically, that'll leave like 6 weeks to the end of December.
Yeah.
So I'd love to get like the end of the year would be perfect. Like that would be lovely.
And you'll be looking to come back with a bang as well, are you not?
Definitely. It'd be nice to get over to California as well, because I've got like this lovely family whose house I stop at as well. So it'd be great to see them.
In terms of your weight division, the heavyweight division in the UFC at the minute, the top 10, you've got obviously the super fight coming up now with Cormier and Stipe. How do you see that one going down?
I love both, and they're both great, but Cormier is just like I just think Cormier by decision. So every time he's just total monstrosity. Like the way he, like I say, but it's hard because Stipe is again a beast. But I just think when Cormier's walking about at like 240, and when he's at his fittest, I just think he's just gonna like he'll grind it off him. I think like maybe he's like fourth round like submission or something like along them lines. I say because Cormier just keeps that level of like fitness like constant for 5 rounds.
Yeah.
And like I say, Stipe might, but my money's on Cormier. Like because people are saying like it's a big jump up. Cormier's been fighting for heavyweight his whole career. Yeah. It's just like another day at the office for him. It's not like a daunting jump up. It's a big weight. He's fought there. You know what I mean? He's like pretty much walked through some of the like the best at heavyweight. Yeah. So
in Stipe's last fight with Francis Ngannou, I know the UFC put a lot of sort of marketing stuff into Ngannou. Were you sort of, I guess, on the hype train of when he was coming up smashing people about, or did you think how did you see before that one? I know hindsight's a lovely thing, but before Ngannou and Miocic, how did you see that going?
Well, I was obviously everyone was like watching Ngannou. I was really impressed. I love seeing people do well. Do you know, if you look at his background story, like the guy come from nothing. He was like he was sleeping on couches, and now he's living in Vegas. He's like he's probably, I don't know what kind of purse he's getting now, but he'd be earning like a boatload of money now. So like, thinking of that result, he fought for the world title, so I was over the moon. I love hearing stories like that, people doing well. But no, I knew, I was excited for the fight, but I knew in my head that like Miocic, like I know people say like he's not out power, but Miocic is like wrestling's like fantastic. So I knew like people, obviously people were just saying like, oh, Ngannou like knock out each, he has got knockout power, but like Stipe's got knockout power and he's got like ridiculous amount of wrestling and jiu-jitsu games. So, and obviously it showed in the fight. But now that, like I say, at the end of the day, they're both minted off it. Like we're just passing judgment, but they're the guys who are doing it, and they've achieved unbelievable status.
You're talking about as well somebody going from sort of having nothing to, I guess he's went to the top, Conor McGregor. Do you think it's time for him to get back in and fight the winner of Khabib Ferguson, or?
I've just seen something. I'm sure I've seen something about Khabib and Conor McGregor in Russia.
All right.
I don't know. I think people were saying, "Oh, it should happen," but I'd be like I say again, Conor McGregor just come from being on the dole. Now he's a multi-million.
Yeah.
Like everyone's talking about him, and Khabib as well. Like over there in California, you like. He was like the person who like would come up to each individual person and shake the hand and like cuddle them and that. Yeah. He was like one of the most loveliest, humblest people you could meet. Like so obviously we're meeting. I've never met Conor, but he's probably a nice fella and that if you meet him. But Khabib's like proper lovely guy. But I'd probably say I'd give it Khabib as well. Yeah. Say Khabib will win an eye.
What, Khabib Conor? You'd take Khabib or Khabib for eye?
I take Khabib eye. But like I say again, just excited for the fight. It'd be a great fight to watch.
Wait, Khabib has to beat Ferguson still, doesn't he?
Does he?
Yeah. So you've got Ferguson Khabib coming up now for the strap, and then I think the way they're going to try and bill it'll be when Conor comes back. His first fight back will be to try and get his belt back, because I think they will be stripping him.
So he's not the champion anymore?
Technically, he still is. They haven't stripped him as of yet, but when Dana White was questioned about it, he wouldn't say whether it was going to be stripped or not. Yeah. But the Ferguson-Khabib fight is being put as for the lightweight title, so it suggests that Conor has been sort of lost the belt. Do you think that's right for them to do, or do you think it's a...
Like I say, Conor McGregor, is like I say, he doesn't mind. He's absolutely minted. He's just like, just what he wants. He's absolutely drenched in money. So I think even like if Dana White like does take his belt off him, then he's alright, because he's gonna, well, he's obviously fighting for it after. Well, he'll be fighting for it after that, no matter what, wouldn't he? Yeah. So I know. It is what it is.
I know the Floyd fight again was for money. What did you make of that whole thing? It's like a spectacle, like a world tour, 4 press conferences. More of a money maker than a sort of.
Like I said, if you just go back to like a story from nothing. How the hell, like, for him to achieve in the space of like, was it 5 years from fighting on Cage Warriors, winning the world title there, winning 2 world champions in the UFC, and then fighting the best boxer of all time, like if I could just go away and blag me way to there, that would just be like unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like to achieve that is like frightening. And like people say what they want, or it shouldn't be happening, and like I know obviously like Mayweather won because he's the best boxer of all time. You know what I mean? And it's talking about him going to the cage now or something.
Yeah,
I think I can't really. I cannot see that happening.
I think the only way you can do that is if you don't have it as an MMA fight, or like maybe you can't take it to the ground or something, because Conor had that experience with his hands. Floyd's got absolutely nothing on the floor. Do you know what I mean? But
that whole point of him coming over
would be the full discipline, isn't it?
Yeah. And then I thought like they would. I thought Mayweather would probably fight CM Punk or something like that first.
Yeah.
And then fight McGregor.
What?
I don't think he would like jump straight into
a fight. What's your stance on that? The likes of CM Punk coming across, the likes of Aaron Jody Shaw in the UK, sort of doing the same thing. Yeah. Where do you stand on that? Do you think fair play to them for well, of course, fair play getting in the cage, like. But
I look, if I was in the UFC, that Aaron Chalmers is like unbelievable. If I was in the UFC now, the first thing I'd be doing is trying to get on that BAMR card. Like he is pulling like hundreds of crowd in, and it's nothing but like meant for local fighters.
Yeah.
To have someone who's like fighting and winning, making massive hype, like all the local MMA fighters who are like coming up, this is like unbelievable for them. It's fantastic. So I'm all for that. Like CM Punk and everything, like. It's all about like Twitter and Instagram. He's got like 2.2 million followers. The UFC obviously are going to get him on, because look how many like pay-per-views that's going to sell. Like how many people from the wrestling are going to watch that. Yeah. It's a business at the end of the day, you know what I mean? So it's like I say, it's always going to I say it's just a business. It's not, I haven't really got a view on it. It's a business. It makes money, makes people talk. So
yeah. I know the Bellator have just announced that they've got a card coming up in London. You've got UFC in London after your suspension. I know it's not every year, but I know the UFC are definitely trying to get across here more, and they've got a lot more English-based or UK-based fighters. What would that be like? It would get on another UK card for the UFC.
I like to get do like a nice little international one. Like I say, that China one would have been lovely.
Aye,
but. I mean, obviously, I've fought at the O2 or Bellator. Yeah, I've done that down there. But obviously, I love to fight. like if it was Newcastle, like I'd jump at that. That would be unreal. But realistically, at the end of the year, there's not going to be any like UK cards. Like I say, I'll fight anyway. But if it's like a lovely exotic place, that's like a little bonus. You know what I mean? So it would be fantastic to fight on home soil. Like, but. If it's anywhere, just gives Vegas a nice little we'll look around the casinos and that afterwards. So
I guess for you as well, it's a case of you've got a massive fan base in the North East and a massive fan base in the UK. I guess for you, it's now trying to expand that sort of worldwide, really.
Aye. But like I say, I just gotta. I'm not like a smack talk. I'm probably the worst smack talker in the world. So I can't date just with like smack talking. So I've just got to just get in and fight. Yeah. Get this suspension out of the way. A little bit of a shitty time. And just get back in and just get back to winning ways and just show like what I can achieve. You know what I mean? I know I can. I know I can be like top 10. I know I can. And like I say, once the suspension up, I can just start flipping, getting down to proper work and getting like back over to California and just doing me work what I know I can do. Yeah. So that's it really. Like.
Spot on, mate. I know we're a little bit pushed for time, so we can wrap it up there. Sponsors or anything, if you want to give any of them a shout out, go for it.
Like all my sponsors who've helped us to this point. I know like leading up to like China and everything, I had loads of help, and then afterwards, like when the sponsors and everything, I mean they all know like me as a person, but like a bit of a shitter for them like when they're here like that when I'm getting suspension. So but no, I appreciate all my sponsors and people who just stuck by us and don't give a shit on Twitter. For the rest of you, fuck it.
Thanks very much, James. Cheers, mate.